I walk in the home, I see that there's some suitcases standing right at the door. And my dad points out the window to the street, to the parking lot area. He says, you see that police car out there? We've probated you to the psychiatric ward of Mount Sinai Hospital in Cleveland, Ohio.
Sent to psych ward for Jesus. Hey guys, it's Garrett coming to you live from Daily Divers. This is your Daily Dive Disciple. I hope you guys all had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's. Well, actually, about to have a Happy New Year's. Actually, this will come out on Tuesday, Testimonial Tuesday. Stay tuned for Fridays too. Shenanigans Fridays. I got a good one for you. This one's about a wrestler who was a Jew. Testimonial for our testimony today. And so his name is Kirt. So he's going to tell us our testimonial. He was put into a psych ward. What in the world? So this is going to be a good one for you guys here. Let's kind of tune in to see what Kirt has in store for us for his testimonial here.
And the short, distinguished-looking man looks at me. He says, "Kirt, you've been living for 20 years like a normal person, and I'm going to snap you out of this thing." I stood up. I said, "Well, can I leave?" And one of his big bodyguards said, "Sit down." Growing up in a very Jewish cultural environment, it never really felt to me that God was a big part of anything. It was much more social. It was that you go to synagogue because you're Jewish, but I don't ever remember God being at the forefront of anything, other than simply going through the liturgy, the memorized portion of the prayers, that was just, once again, part of having a Jewish identity. I was a very committed athlete.
Hey, that's not much different what we go through now as Christians, the culture of Christians, right? Some, they only show up for holidays. Some, or, the dead enter the church, the dead leave the church. It's, you're spiritually dead, the walking dead, right? So not too far different than what we kind of deal with now. And so God, he desires your heart. He doesn't want to hear the movement of your lips, right? He wants your heart, which, stay tuned to the end. But by the way, guys, I have some Bible passages that relate to this. And but if you like this video too, please like, comment, share, subscribe as well. But for more of this type of stuff.
I started wrestling in 7th grade, and every year I got more and more focused on this sport. I would go to sleep at night, and I'd envision myself with my hand raised being the state champ. And I got to the place where I felt there was nobody that I could not beat. I felt like I was in control. It was a great time in life, but things changed just like that. When I looked into the future as a senior in high school, now that wrestling was over, I realized that the world was so much bigger than I was, certainly so much bigger than the people that competed in my weight class in wrestling. I felt afraid. I lost my identity. I lost my purpose. I just got more and more lost and more confused. I spent as much time as possible just sleeping to escape the emotional turmoil that I was in. I asked myself, what can I do to give myself that feeling back that I had when I was wrestling? It was such a dark time for me that I had a difficult time remembering any of the good things that had happened to me in life.
So clearly he idolized wrestling, right? And we tend to do this, right? We tend to idolize, objects, cars, money, and things like this, sports. And then when it's gone, it's gone, right? What do we do from here? And so it's part of the process, right? Part of the crushing process. God's trying to show us that, hey, it's meaningless, right? It's meaningless, as Solomon says, right? And everything in life is meaningless without God.
And I go to sleep one night. It was 1978. In the middle of the night, I was awoken from my sleep. Suddenly, in color, Jesus appeared on the cross. A ray of red light from straight through the sky beamed down on his head. God had just showed me that Jesus was the way to him. The vision lasted no more than 2 seconds, but I was aware what had happened. And I was so excited because somehow I knew that something supernatural had just happened to me.
Praise God.
I got up the next morning. I started talking about it, telling everybody about it. I started devouring the Word of God.
right? Deuteronomy says to do that. You're going to declare his greatness. In Psalms, I showed in a couple other videos about where those passages are. He's relating right to the Bible. That's what happens. He declares his testimonies, how good God is, and he's done in his life and those around him. That's awesome. Yeah, we can't not talk about it, right? That's the whole point. It's the joy.
I was very naive as to what I was about to face when I started telling my Jewish family and friends about this experience.
Oh no.
We drove to a hotel. There was a short, distinguished-looking man in a three-piece suit, and then he had two guys next to him, both of them over 6 feet tall, probably at least 200 pounds. And
what is this, the mafia? The Jewish mafia? What is this? I mean, is there such a thing as that? It's like, it reminds me of a movie I just watched, actually. Maybe I'll attach it here, right about now.
There's a job. It's in the heavily armed Homeland Security building.
Yeah, that can't be done.
So what we talking?
We could take out a cop. Buy you 10 minutes.
This is my partner.
Something very big is about to go down.
You all right? Yeah. There's gotta be a different way.
I don't have a problem taking out a cop.
999.
But this is crazy. Wow. It's
the short, distinguished-looking man looks at me and says, "Kirt, you've been living for 20 years like a normal person, and I'm going to snap you out of this thing." And I said, "I'm not programmed. I just believe that Jesus is the Messiah." And he said, "Well, you've got nothing to worry about." I stood up. I said, "Well, can I leave?" And one of his big bodyguards said, "Sit down." We went back to my home, but one of the bodyguards was with me. He slept in my bedroom that night so that I couldn't escape. And then the next morning, he and I drove to one of their rehabilitation houses in California. It wasn't too long after that. I walk in the home, I see that there's some suitcases standing right at the door. And my dad points out the window to the street, to the parking lot area. He says, "You see that police car out there? We've probated you to the psychiatric ward of Mount Sinai Hospital in Cleveland, Ohio."
No, they sent him to the psych ward. Wow. It wasn't the mafia, it was the psych ward. Crazy. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Sent to psych ward for Jesus. Who would have thought?
Was locked up in the psychiatric ward for 2 months. It was one of the worst experiences I've ever had in my life. Every day I would wake up and there was no place to go. You couldn't get out. You were locked in this ward. It was a terrible, terrible experience. After 2 months, I was released. So as a Jewish person, I have been through a lot because of my faith in Jesus, but for me, when I saw the ray of red light in that vision come down on Jesus' head, I knew it was coming from God. I'm so solid in my faith in Jesus. Number one, because of the supernatural experiences I've had. Secondly, because I see how the whole Bible is a unified whole and how it all fits together, that going through experiences like the ones that I just described, it never shook my faith.
Wow.
I know that I know. Sure, there's been times that it's like I feel, well, God, where are you? I don't feel you. There's been times that I've got discouraged, but I've never wavered in my faith. See, when I built my life on wrestling, my life was built from the outside in. My life was dependent on something disconnected from myself. But when wrestling ended, I fell apart. Now I'm building my life on something that's from the inside out.
Yes.
Jesus said he had come to give life and to give it more abundantly, that he is the way, the truth, and the life. I've been on this track now for 40 years, and I can't wait to meet him face to face. God has a reward for everyone that will choose to follow him.
Wow. Wow. Sent to psych ward for Jesus. Who would have thought, right? But I guess it kind of makes sense too. Yeah, it's wow. What a powerful testimony. Not only he had a vision of Jesus. What it says that, he says, "In those days I will gather my people." And so he does. He does. He's doing it now. It's happening all over the place. We've been seeing it now for a couple of videos. But it's amazing. It's amazing to see some of this stuff. But so what can we relate here to? Let's jump right to the Bible, right? So real quick here. First off, Isaiah 29:13, he says that it felt like he was going through the motions, right? That's all the Jews and worshiping God was to him. It was not actually coming to Jesus and actually giving their heart. It was just going through the motions, which Isaiah 29:13 is just like that's just what brought me to God. Is I realized this and when I read it though anyway, and he says, and the Lord said, because these people draw near with their mouth and honor me with their lips, while their hearts are far from me, and their fear of me is toward the commandment taught by man. Now, the Hebrew word there is precepts. It's laws, traditions, and it's just literally going through laws set in motion to get you to think and act a certain way. And he says that the reason why he did this was that why he did these things and why he was angry towards them. This was about him blinding the nations, sending out a spirit of deep sleep. And the reason why he did that is because the people draw near to him with their mouth and they honored him with their lips through the emotions. They didn't their heart wasn't in it, right? And then jumping to Isaiah 2:11 through 12, he was very prideful, right? And God humbles the prideful. And so that's what he experienced. He said, the haughty looks of men shall be brought low, and the lofty pride of men shall be humbled. And the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day. And he was. He came to Jesus, and the Lord of hosts that has a day against all the proud and lofty, and those who are lifted up shall be brought low. And that's what he experienced. He crushes. He says, is my word not like a fire, like a hammer that crushes the stone in Jeremiah? So true. He crushes us. But anyway, guys, hope you liked this. If you liked it, please comment, share, subscribe for more. And until the next one. Wow, that was a pretty good one. Friday. Stay tuned for Friday. We got another Shenanigan Friday. All right. See you guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.